My dear students, go to part 3 of the poem The Rime of the Ancient Mariner. Here you can see the first stanza of part 3 of the poem The Rime of the Ancient Mariner. Here we see that the ancient mariner is continuing his story with the wedding guest. He was saying, "There passed a weary time, his throat was parched and glazed each eye. A weary time, how glazed each weary eye. When looking westward, I beheld a something in the sky." That is, the ancient mariner is saying that they were passing a very weary time. That is, they were very much exhausted. And their throat was parched, that means very dry because of thirst, and their eyes became glassy. A weary time. You can see the repetition of the word a weary time. And repetition here serves to emphasize how bad things really were for the mariner and his shipmates. And their eyes were glassy, and at that very moment when they were very much overtired, and at that very moment when looking westward, I beheld something in the sky. That is, the ancient mariner was saying that at that very moment he saw something in the sky. Where? On the westward. Okay, then go to next stanza. At first it seemed a speck, and then it seemed a mist. It moved and took at last a certain shape I wist. That is, the ancient man was saying that at first he saw it seemed a little speck. A speck means a dot, a tiny spot. Okay, in the sky. He saw that's a little speck, that is a tiny spot, and then it seemed a mist. Then it seemed like mist, fog. Okay, a dim appearance of something. Then it moved and took at last a certain shape I wished. Here wished is an archaic word. Okay, that means he understood a certain shape. It moved and took at last a certain shape. That is, when he saw something in the sky, it was like a tiny spot. Then it as it approached nearer, it seemed like a mist. Then it moved. That is, it came closer and at last a certain shape, that is a particular shape, he saw. Then go to next stanza. A speck, a mist, a shape I wished, and still it neared, as if it doused a water spirit. It plunged and tacked and veered. That is, you see, at first it was like a speck, that is a tiny dot, a tiny spot. Then it took the shape of a mist, and then he found a certain shape, that is a particular shape, and still it neared, and it was coming closer, and as if it doused a water spirit, it plunged and tacked and veered. That is, here when the certain shape came closer and closer all the time, it was changing his directions frequently. Okay, and as if it evaded some water spirit, and actually the movement of the certain shape here, the movement of the certain shape was compared with that is, as if it seemed that it was dosing the water spirit. Okay, and it plunged and tacked and veered. Plunged, that means jumped. Okay, tacked, turned its head into and through the wind. Okay, and veered at the zigzag moment. That is, the certain shape was coming nearer and nearer with zigzag pattern. Okay, here Actually, the ancient mariner was describing the movement of the certain shape. Okay. Now, my dear student, go to next stanza. With throats unslaked, with black lips baked, we could not laugh not well. Through utter draught, all dumb we stood. I beat my arm, I sucked the blood and cried, a sail, a sail. Okay, so my dear students, you can see here that is a tiny dot, that is a tiny spot now took the shape of a sheep, a sail, sail, that means a sheep. Then with throats unslaked, okay, the ancient mariner was describing their condition of their throats, that is their throats were unslaked, that is not quenched, very dry, okay, and their lips became black for dry, okay, for dry heat. Out of thirst there and hot weather, their lips became baked, okay, became black and baked. And at that moment, for this reason, that is as their throats and their lips were like baked, and out of thirst they could nor laugh nor well, that is they couldn't laugh or cry. Well means a prolonged cry, okay, then they could nor laugh nor cry. And why? Through utter draught all dumb we stood, that is for utter draftness, that is dryness, they became dumb, okay, they couldn't speak, they couldn't laugh, they couldn't cry. And at that moment, out of joy, okay, as I beat my arm, I sucked the blood. The ancient mariner was saying that he sucked his blood and he beat his arm, okay, and sipped blood, okay, and why did he sip blood or suck blood? To wet or to moisten his tongue and throat, okay, so he beat his arm and sucked blood and moistened his throat, and then he cried. What was he is saying? A sail, that means a sheep, okay. Here we again see the repetition of the word a sail, and here repetition is used to show how excited he was, how excited the mariner was to see the sheep, because he became very glad at first, that is the sheep might come to rescue them. So, my dear students, here every 4 lines and stanza, and here we see that is the stanza remains 5 lines, okay. Then go to next stanza, please. With throats unslaked, with black lips baked, agape they heard me call. Gramercy therefore joy did grin, and all at once their breath drew in, as they were drinking all. Okay, my dear students, in this stanza we see that the ancient mariner with throats unslaked, with black lips baked, okay, that is though their with throats unslaked, that is their throats are again, this line is the repetition of the previous stanza, you see, with throats unslaked, with black lips baked, for dryness, for dry and hot weather there, and out of thirst their throats became unslaked and their lips became black and baked, okay. And at this moment again they heard me call, okay, here agape means mouth wide open, okay, they heard me call, that is they means here the shipmates of the ancient mariner. The shipmates of the ancient mariner heard him calling that is sail. And gramercy, here the word gramercy is an exclamation to express surprise or sudden strong feeling, okay. he said, the ancient mariner said, gramercy, they for joy did grin, and all at once their breath drew in as they were drinking all. Here we see as the use of simile here, that is, they the shipmates of the ancient mariner also exclaimed and smiled broadly. Here grin means smile broadly. They also exclaimed and smiled broadly. Why? For joy. Okay, as they saw a sheep coming towards them. And this condition was compared that as they were drinking all. Okay, though they didn't drink any water, but it seemed that as they were all drinking all, and they were able to speak, and they showed their joy. Okay, my dear students, then go to next stanza please. See, see, I cried, she takes no more, hither to work as will. Without a breeze, without a tide, she steadies with upright keel. Okay, my dear students, here we see that. See, see, I cried, she takes no more. That is, and the ancient mariner was crying, saying that, see, see, she takes no more. Here, the sheep, okay, was personified. That is she. She's calling the sheep as she. Okay, so here we see that the sheep was personified here. And in these lines, we see that the mariner said that he urged them to notice that the ship did not sail in a zigzag course anymore. Okay, the ship okay, my dear students, here in these lines the mariner said that he asked them to notice that the ship did not sail in a zigzag course anymore. Okay, and it was coming towards them straight to be of great help to them, and it was sailing steadily, okay, with upright keel, without without breeze and without tide. We know that naturally a sail or a ship needs breeze or tide, okay, to move, but in this case we see that the ship was moving without any breeze and without any tide, and she steadies with upright keel. That is, he was now he was coming to them directly. And then go to the next stanza, my dear students. Okay, can you see? Okay, the western wave was all aflame. The day was well nigh done. Almost upon the western wave rested the broad bright sun, when that strange shape dropped suddenly betwixt us and the sun. Okay, my dear students, here we see that the ancient mariner is describing the situation, that is the in these very lines we see that the western wave was all aflame, the day was well nigh done. That is, the day had almost came to an end. Okay, that is it's the time of you can guess, that is, it's the time of before sunset. Okay, and almost upon the western wave rested the broad bright sun. Okay, here we see the use of alliteration, broad bright sun, that is B, the sound of B. Okay, and that is the broad bright sun resting upon the western part of the sea. And when the distance shape drove suddenly betwixt us and the sun, and at that moment, okay, we see that is the when the broad bright sun resting upon the western part of the sea, that is the when it was evening time, before evening, the strange ship suddenly appeared between their vision and the sun. Okay, the sudden that strange shape, that means the strange ship what happened to the strange ship? The strange ship suddenly appeared between their vision and the sun. Okay, then go to the next stanza please.